Okay. Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classic Non-Classics. This is episode number 1123 and Doubleshot number 1017. I got one Marvel trade, one DC trade. Both of them feature two characters still around to this very day, and both have one big thing in common. Neither one of them have got an ongoing series right now. The last ongoing series for the first character actually ended 2 years ago. Yep, but this is not from 2 years. This is from the mid-2000s. This is the Immortal Iron Fist, Volume 4, The Immortal Iron Fist. Collecting the Immortal Iron Fist issues 17 and 20, and the Immortal Iron Fist are Serrano and the Death Queen of California one-shot. Yeah. Edward Baker, Matt Fraction, David Odger are not in this book. Nope, they have left after 16 issues. They're replaced with Dwayne Sorzinski. Yep. Actually, a really damn good writer. Wrote books like he wrote the second one for Cable that lasted from 2008 to 2010. He was the first writer on the New 52 Birds of Prey book. He's the book, I think he also wrote Rye from Valiant. But if you look at this guy's work, it's like, yeah, the guy wrote a lot of really good stuff. And he basically came up with this. He did like the last 9 issues of this run. Yeah, this is basically the first 4 issues he did. The Immortal Iron Fist. This is basically Danny Rand, being confronted by... Now, they reveal in this book that because the whole thing... They reveal that, because apparently there's this creature who associated with Shun Lun, the dragon who gave Danny Rand his Iron Fist powers. Apparently there's this creature known as Kan Shin Lee, I think his name is, who apparently is charged with, get this, when an Iron Fist reaches the age of 33, this guy's task is to kill the Iron Fist. Yep, he's the guy who ends the person who has a title of Iron Fist. And basically, the first part of the story goes after him. They do show him actually killing one of the previous Iron Fists from the 19th century. Yeah, a guy who died in 1878. He was born in... I think it was 1850. I think it was 1855. He died in 1878. They show him. Their flashbacks Orson Randall in here. Of course, that's in his own one shot. And he does get a chance to take on Danny Rand. There's a minor subplot of him showing up as masked to his CEO. Well, the guy who hired to run his company for him, because Danny Rand, despite the fact him being rich, he has no interest in running his company at all. It's similar to that of, let's see, a guy who's a superhero, who's basically rich, but has no business sense at all. I mean, you could say that it's kind of like Batman and Iron Man, but the thing is, both those guys are successful businessmen. Danny Rand has no interest in business at all. I mean, yeah, he's rich, but he wants nothing to do with it at all. That's basically how the guy has been for years. He basically let other people run his company for him while he basically goes out be a superhero. And this guy comes after him. I mean, he says he has heard of him before, and the fact he's responsible for ending all the previous Iron Fist. Well, the guy who's the host he's been hosting for 75 years. I would say he's probably killed the last several per se. I wouldn't say that he's killed every single one. This guy is apparently, believe it or not, this guy was revealed at the end of the story arc to be the boyfriend of Danny Rand's secretary. Yep. Named Nydia, who was revealed when he fought for the guy for the second time. Apparently she's pregnant with his child. He's like, what, baby? And he just kind of tossed her aside. I don't know if he caused a woman to miscarry because she doesn't appear again after she gets the wall, but I don't know if she miscarried. I would think she probably did. The first time Danny Rand confronts the guy, in Central Park, mind you, I'm like, Danny Rand confronting a villain in Central Park. Yeah, I know this sounds similar to what happened with, I think it was Marvel Team Issues 76, 77, the two part that tied up loose ends from the Iron Fist ongoing series in the 70s. Yeah, because they got canceled those sales. And this is very similar to that. I don't know if Dwayne Suzuki basically took the idea of a villain confronting Danny Rand Central Park as very similar. The only difference is Spider-Man doesn't help him this time. Nope, it's Luke Cage and his girlfriend Missy Knight, who he's scared to call. Also, he apparently is scared of having sex with her. Despite the fact these two are fully grown adults, they can have sex if they want to, but yet these two are freaking scared. Well, she's not. She wants to do it. He does have interest into it, but he's worried. Yeah. And the thing is, their relationship, basically, despite the fact they've been together as a couple at this point since the 70s, the relationship has barely progressed. I mean, they've made out several times over the years, but it has been mentioned these two have had sex previously, but not here apparently. Oh yeah, and get this. She's not currently dating Dana Rand anymore. Nope. Last I heard, for some reason she decided to start a relationship with Sam Wilson, aka the Falcon. Don't know why, it's just that she did. And Danny Rand's got himself a new girlfriend as of late. I think her name was Brenda, who appears in the series that came several years after the series ended. Yep, so basically contacts his friend Luke Cage and Misty Knight to help him out. And, well, they fend the guy off. The guy faces him again, this time at Danny Rand's company, which he wins. But it's like, okay, this guy's still around, but yeah, and the book ends with him searching for the mythological 8th city. Oh yeah, and the immortal weapons. Yeah, these are the other weapons from the other 7 cities. They show up in the opening story of the series. The last Iron Fist story. That's where all these guys made their debut. This like Fat Cobra, Bride 9 Spiders. I think it was like the Bride of the Tiger. I think it was the Bride of 9 Tigers, the Tiger's Daughter, the Prince of Orphans. This guy was known for being, as far as I've heard about this character was the inspiration for Danny Rand himself. Yeah, but for some reason, Brubaker turned him into a villain and had pretty much killed all the immortal weapons of Danny Rand and Fat Cobra. All the rest got killed. Yeah, I'm not really sure why that he did that for, but he did. I mean, he brought him in, so he probably figured, okay, let's turn him villain for some reason. Yeah, I don't really know why. But in the end of this book, they go search for cities like, okay, let's go search someplace else. And that's the book ends. Well, that's where issue 20 ends. Orson Randall and Death Queen. It's mostly just an Orson Randall story take place in the 30s, probably before his death. Well, before he vanished, per se, where a woman named Daphne, I think her name is, and she apparently is Death Queen in California. It's an interesting pulp story, and I do appreciate that Dwayne Siski wrote this damn thing. It's really good. I love the artwork. The artwork in here is a bit hit or miss. Like, some characters look like they're drawn from, like, they look at this artwork here. I'm not really a fan of the way this artwork here looks on this page here for this opening issue. I mean, it looks similar to Salvador Roca's artwork from Star Wars. Yeah, it looks kind of bad. But I like the writing. Yes, Dwayne Siski is known for being a fantastic writer. And this artwork is mostly done by Trevor Foreman and Ross Heath, though he does past sequences. The guy who does the Orson around Death Queen California one shot, that's done by Kastapi Kamakali. I think this cover art is done by Trevor Foreman. This book is really good. I'm glad the fact I finally got another trade for Iron Fist. Technically, there's still one trade left, and then this series is done. Yep. I give this book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. It's damn good. Yeah, the Immortal Iron Fist series, from what I heard from some people, this is by far one of Marvel's best series from the 2000s. Yeah, it is a really good title. Sad it was the fact it ended after 27 issues. Yes, 27, which I'm like, damn, that's kind of short. Yeah, there is still one more trailer coming after this. I will eventually get it. Aside from that, there's like the only thing left to go for Iron Fist because I reviewed the Epic collection that collected the original one from the 70s. I reviewed that. I have reviewed there is a Return to Kunlun trade which collects his 2nd, 3rd, and 4th volume for his ongoing series. I reviewed the 2 trades from Ed Bronson's run. There's just a few trades left. There's like one trade left to go for this. There's the Living Weapon series, which either I'm going to get the complete collection or the 2 volumes. And let's see, there's also the Damnation trade, which collects the last few issues of the series of Iron Fist. There's the Iron Fist trade done by the writer of Iron Fist Living Weapon, and there's the digital comic, and that's it. There's like very few comic books. Yeah, that's the thing about Iron Fist, is that he's a great character. He hasn't had that many ongoing series, and this one was the longest one he had, 27 issues. Not even his recent run was that long. Oh no, that book was like, let's see, 8 plus 6. I think it was like roughly like 13 issues. It's not the long of a run. It's slightly longer than Living Weapon, but that was still a great book altogether. And I can't lay my hands on the Damnation trade that collects the entire story, which collects the last few issues of Iron Fist. Alright, moving on to a different character who also, like Iron Fist, does not have an ongoing series for now. This is Robin. Volume 1. Reborn. This is written by Chuck Dixon and Alan Grant. Now, Alan Grant just writes the first couple series are in here, which is just Batman 455 to 457, Detective Comics 618, 621. Chuck Dixon writes the Robin issues in here. Now, those of you probably curious about this cover. This is done by Brian Ballard. Yes, he's the one who does this really cover. Now, you're probably thinking, Brian Ballard, why does the name sound so familiar? Yes, he's the guy. Guy was the artist for one of the most famous Batman one-shots ever released, Batman: The Killing Joke, which is a critically acclaimed comic book that was adapted for a film that had 30 minutes of original footage, because apparently the reason I heard is that there was not enough pages in the one shot for a feature-length film. Yeah. But he just does the covers in here. He does not do the interior artwork. The interior artwork in here, all the issues, in, let's say, the Batman into the comic issues, that's done by the now late Norm Breyfogle. This guy's artwork is so good. And it's sad I never got a chance to meet this guy. I think I had met Tom Lyle once. He's the guy. He actually does the Robin miniseries. Mostly put the Batman to the comics issues. The reason why they're here, because they build up the Robin miniseries. Detective Comics is simply a 4-parter, which has Tim Drake not in the costume. It's basically a build up to basically Tim Drake be in costume. Like, the story is like Tim Drake's parents are kidnapped, and he's also investigating this person called Money Spire Hacker, who is revealed to be Anarchy. Yep, the original Anarchy. Yeah, at one point his codename was Money Spire in the 2000s. Yes, and that later set up to a 3-parter, which followed right happened after that 4-part in Detective Comics, which was mentioned in the story that when his parents were kidnapped, his father survived despite being wounded, but his mother was killed. His father, Jack Drake, did remarry to a beautiful woman. Well, I remember reading about it. Like, not when it just came out, because I was still a little kid when these issues came out, but yeah. And, like, okay, he caught, like, the killer. Yeah, good, successful. He actually just made Batman at one point. But, yeah, basically breaking the rules. He's actually probably accepted it. And basically he said it's been the costume. Yeah, and I should point something about this costume that Tim Drake wears as Robin. He does not put on the costume that Grayson or Jason Todd wear. Because, and this is my personal opinion on this one, I'm sure people may have... I may ask Chuck Dixon about this when I can see him in the next month. But this costume, my personal guess, is the reason why they had to give Tim Drake his own individual costumes. They have worn the same exact costume that the first 2 Robins wore. And this is my opinion. Just to be different. Yes. Here is the costume. Yes. This is the original Tim Drake costume. A costume he would wear up until 2006. Yeah, he wore this costume for 15 years. I think this came out in 91, if not mistaken. Actually, no. It may have been December, I think it was, this issue. The issue he puts on this costume for the first time. This came out in... Here we go. December 1990. So for pretty much about a long time he wore this costume until he decided to update the costume for a few years before changing and became Red Robin. There was a costume they show up in here, like Ultimate Versus costumes. Like this costume here, designed by Norm Brotberger and Tom Lyle. This costume, if you look at this costume, it looks kind of similar to the costume that he wore when he was Red Robin. And the hood kind of reminds, I think, a lot of people the way the design looks. Not only looks like his first Red Robin costume, but also looks very similar to Damian Wayne's costume as Robin. It's a similar look to his. I got handed to the ultimate version of the costume. They are pretty interesting looks. Yeah, these were basically previous designs they could have used, but they didn't. But I don't mind these designs. They're actually really good. I'm glad the fact that this first Robin trade actually threw him in. Even the cover of the original Hero Reborn one-shot. The trade paperback, the original collected the story. Yeah. I just got praised DC for that. The story in here is actually really good. And I do recommend people are fans of Robin. I mean, if you're a fan of Tim Drake, I do recommend starting here. Because, well, I would start with Lonely Place to Die. I would start there first because that's when he first, well, meets Batman. And then you can read this book here next, which kind of has him build up to become Robin. Unlike with Jason Todd, where he didn't receive much training, Tim Drake was definitely trained. And then you have the Robin miniseries, which has him encounter Lady Shiva. Yes, Lady Shiva. Excuse me, yes. Yeah, encounters Lady Shiva, who does train him for a bit. Yeah, trains both him and Bruce Wayne. But has the instinct not to kill people, which she doesn't have a really big problem with that. She did have a problem with that during Nightfall. They didn't have a problem with that with Tim Drake, but they had a problem with that for Batman. And I got handed to for the first miniseries. My guess is because the first miniseries was so good, it probably sold really well. That's probably why DC gave him 2 more miniseries before finally giving him an ongoing series that lasts until 2009. 9.5 out of 10. Do recommend it for people who are fans of Tim Drake. And in case you're curious, though, how much this trade cost, I got it from Amazon, so I got it for kind of cheap. This trade is roughly $19.99, basically $20 for this thing, which is not bad. This book I also got from Amazon. I got this for dirt cheap. The original cover price for this thing is $14.99. Yeah, $15 for this one. This one's all $20, which is actually okay for how much issues in here, which is like 3 plus 4, that's like 7 plus 5. Yeah, like 11 issues in here. Now, I have reviewed the second volume for the trade series, Triumph. I've reviewed that before. You had to look up my channel to remember what episode it was, but I do plan to get the other trades for this particular trade series for Robin. I'm still planning on getting Nightwing, but when, I don't have any idea, but probably soon. I do have a couple of trades that come tomorrow. I'll probably read those and I'll review them. Okay, so that's it for this particular review, and that's the video I'm really planning on doing today, because I don't have any other videos planned for today. I mean, unless, of course, I manage to get done, like, find out if they've released a new chapter for Fire Force in case closed. Otherwise, though, that'll be it until tomorrow, where I'll talk about the newest chapter for Black Clover, okay? See you next video tomorrow. Bye.